Before we start anything, there's a new video on Moistonia Live. I will be streaming at 7 PM tonight over on Twitch. And if you do feel like you want to support the channel, I recently updated my Teespring to include a new design which has a coat of arms. There were 2 entries and I decided to use both because I didn't have time to do my entry. There are reasons, but they don't matter now. Link to all 3 down below. Now the story of today is one of an absolutely harrowing case, one where I quite frankly think we should all consider the death penalty. For this, we need Melinda Sanders Jones. What did Melinda Sanders Jones do, you ask? Well, to me, she did the most sickening thing you could ever do, ever. One where I think we should all brace ourselves for the absolute horror of a crime that she committed, and the outright, downright, absolutely correct response to what she did. She failed to return 2 library public books on time, by about 2 years. And let that just sink in, everyone. I know, turn up the juice on the electric chair. This is unacceptable. Let's not think of the fact that I didn't even know libraries still existed because I thought everyone had a Kindle by now. Oh god, could you imagine someone not returning an e-book on time? Is that even a thing? What do? Get sent more spam? A virus, perhaps? Do they just take the money out of your Google Pay account? So the resident from Charlotte, Michigan, checked out a book from her library in 2017 and claims in an interview to CNN that she had totally forgotten about the books and was unaware of the overdue fines until a few months ago. She was told in person that her books were late when she was barred a few months ago from using a printer at the Charlotte Community Library. Once Sanders located them on her son's bookshelf and returned them, she believed that she would be notified of the fees, which, I'll be honest, was the first mistake she made. That's like going to the dentist, having the work done and walking out, without realising the majority of people have to pay for it. That is directly aimed at my youngest sister. Yes, she did that, and got a rather nasty fine for it. You idiot. Understandably in the circumstances, because she just walked away and didn't bother to inquire, this had a bit of an adverse effect on her career, and that's not a joke. Melinda Sanders Jones was due to receive a promotion at work, but received a call from her boss a week ago and said that a background check revealed she had an open arrest warrant. Now, while she believed it was a joke, the boss did in fact confirm that the arrest warrant was real and open. I'm surprised Dog the Bounty Hunter hadn't tackled her yet. Police chief for the Charlotte Police Department has confirmed to CNN that the arrest warrant existed, and Sanders is now charged with failure to return rental property, something which I didn't know existed as a law, but since I intend to be visiting Michigan next year, I'll make sure not to borrow a book. I can't believe people still do that. I'm sat in a room with 2 Kindles, and yes, I have loads of books as well, but I don't think I've ever borrowed a book. I've always held the belief I didn't want other people's, well, germs, I guess, on a book. I always wanted to own it myself. Maybe I'm a bit naive. Maybe I don't fully appreciate and understand the value of a library in a community. Perhaps that same mentality is lacking in Melinda, who should have realised those books were not hers and taken the consequence and acted herself so as to prevent getting an inevitable arrest warrant. Wow. You stuffed yourself out of promotion because you didn't think clearly. You were entirely to blame, by the way, Melinda, and the death penalty is a guarantee at this point.
What happened, say? Fucking hell. Stand up. Enjoy that.
To add to this, after Sanders had neglected to return the book, after several months, the Economic Crimes Unit at the county's prosecutor's office actually conducted an investigation. The unit that is responsible for handling cases that involve failure to return rental property outline on its website that repeat offenders could face formal criminal prosecution. The community library's Director of Financial Services spoke to CNN and said that library privacy rules have barred her from discussing individual account information with the public, but did add, so this kind of adds fuel to the rumour fire, that there is a considerable amount of information that Melinda Sanders Jones is not providing. The rules for this particular library dictate that when an item is a week overdue, the library calls, texts, or emails the person who checked them out, which depends on the individual's preference when they sign up for an account. The library will then continue to mail, text, or email at 2 weeks overdue and once again at 1 month and 3 months past the due date. At the 4-month overdue, the library then sends out a warning that is certified by mail stating that if you don't bring the materials back in 2 weeks, they will submit it to the Economic Crimes Unit, because at that point, the book is considered theft of property, with her adding that if the mail isn't able to be delivered, the library will receive the returned mail. Melinda Sanders Jones claims she never received the late notices because, well, actually this is again on her, she was frequently switching addresses, and that she changed her phone number at one point and that she moved a lot to escape an abusive relationship. So I understand the reasoning for why she was not at the address they originally sent the warnings to, but as she still had the books, they could have been returned, possibly during a mailbox at night, if needed. But I can understand why she may have been unable to return the books properly had she explained to the library the reasoning for her not being there. She mentioned escaped relationship that was abusive, and that at one point she was staying at a domestic violence victim shelter. There'll be records of this. As would there be records with the police, as a mitigating circumstance, I am almost certain the library would have rescinded the fine. A bit of transparency on both parts would have worked wonders. I blame you for not returning the book. I don't blame you for not being where you said you were. Although, and to throw a spanner or a wrench in this, it is possible to sign into the Charlotte Community Library, which has contact information via phone and an address on the home page of the website. Should you ever need to return books, you could have sent them in via post with a letter enclosed explaining your situation, perhaps with your login library card number if you still had it, although because the books were taken out and stamped, they would have been able to confirm who they came from without your ID in the first place. A minor proactive response, but, and this is a big but, I do understand why you were not able to, as your priorities were vastly shifted in a different direction for what you were going through at the time. That all being said, death penalty. We'll have no one not returning books on time, there'll be no exceptions to this. Do I need my sarcasm sign for any of that? The books, for the sake of it, just to show how much money's been wasted here, have a value of less than $200. Sanders faces no more than 93 days in prison or a $500 fine per the Michigan State Penal Code. A pre-trial meeting of this is scheduled for tomorrow, so hopefully a resolution comes forward very soon, because while it is amusing, it'll be interesting to see if the mitigating factors of the abusive relationship leading to her not being where she was registered at would play a part, or whether she even had the books when she had to leave anyway, because just because she settled into a newer house now and the books were there then does not mean she had them in her possession when she was at the domestic violence victim shelter, or when she was on someone's couch while she was busy hopping around to protect herself and her son. With this rather interesting case, I am intrigued to know what you think. I want to know what you think she should have done, if I haven't already covered it, and of course, whether you think the death penalty is the correct sentence. I'm smiling when I say that. I'm sorry you can't see it. It's pretty obvious I'm being sarcastic, but I know someone's going to take offense regardless. Anyway, if I don't see you tonight over on Twitch, I hope you'll have a fantastic Wednesday, and thank you all for listening.